Oh, welcome. I'm here to discuss mods because some people still need a little help. And I'm more than willing to do it because one, I love Destiny, and two, I've had my coffee. I'm on my third cup. Thanks for asking. Ooh, choked on that a little bit. Not the first time. Okay, so let's talk about mods because we are getting to a point where a lot of people are getting to the kind of 1250 cap, and it's becoming part of where you need to construct your own builds. Um, there are two types of builds based off of the armor. One is the war mine build, um, and then the other is the charged with light build. But before we even do that, I want to start kind of um, really easy and move to something mod wise that you can do to kind of get a taste of it, and then we'll kind of ramp it up a little bit lesson wise, and then I'll show you how it all kind of applies in armor. So if you haven't done so, the first thing to do is to look at your ghosts, and this is the easiest thing to kind of mod. Um, as you know, ghosts now have the ability to become modded, and how to upgrade them is it's quite simple, really. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to do it. Um, it's usually Glimmer, some legendary shards, and then it becomes the cores. As you can see here, my Awakened Ghost shell here, it's a one energy, a +1. And then you can see that it costs 301 legendary shard. Now each time I upgrade this, it's gonna take more glimmer and more legendary shards. And then we're gonna get to a point where it's going to take a core, the enhancement cores. Um, and from there, those will also go up. Doesn't take a lot, and it's totally worth masterworking your ghost shell. Okay? Regardless if you make it 10, 9, 8, 7, whatever, most things that are upgraded to 5 are really beneficial because that's usually the most expensive kind of mod, and at least you can slot something in there with that. What I mean is, if you take a look at these mods here, you can see how much energy it's going to cost, and if you scroll over it, you can see how many spots it's going to fill up in the bar. This one here is for XP. Now, there are certain tips and tricks you can do. We don't have to go over them. Um, XP is great if you're still doing the season pass. It will help you move up the season pass just a little bit further based off of how much XP you gain from the activities and from the bounties. But let's say we're going to insert that there. So you can see that I've added a +5 mod, and I still have room for another mod that can take up to at least another few mods if I wanted, but at least another mod that takes up a +5. But really, I could do something like this, a +2, and I could add a Glimmer and Gains +3. So it's all based off of simple addition. Any, the number of mods and what their energy cost is based off of what I have up here and available. Okay. Do note that each time you slot something, it's going to cost 500 glimmer. It doesn't cost anything to get rid of it. So if I keep this 20% glimmer and I'm like, oh, I got my 250,000 and I want to get rid of it, doesn't cost anything to get rid of it, but it is going to cost something to reinstall each time. So I always have a glimmer on my shell because I'm going through glimmer more than I ever have in my entire Um, time in Destiny. Usually I'm always at the cap. I never have a problem with the cap, but now I'm running into things where I've actually hit zero a couple times, so it's kind of interesting. The two mods that I keep once I've hit the 100 on the pass are the increased glimmer drops, and then the detector within the 40 range, so I can find resources, both the chests and the materials, so that I can pick up upgrade kits from Banshee, which we can talk about. Anyway, so this is the simplest one to kind of look at. You can see that it takes the mods, and it's a plus 10, and that I have a lot of room to mess around with this. Okay, so ghost shells are the easiest thing to upgrade. Doesn't take a lot. The next thing, the next kind of tier, it's a little more different. Not a little more. It's not really that different, but there are some additional things to look for is your weapons. Now I'll show you here. You can see that with the gold outline, I've masterworked these two weapons. Masterworking a weapon is based on a couple things. One, how much you like the weapon. Two, the rolls that you have on the weapon. And three, kind of the frequency that you want to use it within your build. In this case here, I masterworked the Lonesome Sidearm, which I never thought I would masterwork a sidearm because I think they're kind of, I don't know. They're typically used for PvP based on their quickness, but the Lonesome Sidearm is not a 3 burst. It's a 1 burst. It's a magazine of 12. So low magazines usually mean it's 1 bullet. I don't like 3 burst, but I do like Lonesome. I do like the quickness of it. I do like the rolls that I had from it. And so I upgraded it and masterworked. And I also masterworked it because of its reload speed. So it has incredible reload speed for me because they kind of feed into each other. So when you masterwork a weapon, it's the same deal. I can't show you on this one, but I'll show you on another one. Masterworking a weapon is based on doing the same kind of thing. The first few times, the first one will be Glimmer, and then it's going to add Legendary Shards, and then it's going to start to add enhancement cores pretty early on. Now, weapons will only take these 3 things. I think it uses a total of like between 18 and 20 enhancement cores to fully masterwork a weapon if you really want it. So, unless you have a lot of enhancement cores, which I for a lot of people, I don't. I don't hang on to the stuff. I don't save it. I don't stockpile it. Once I have something that I really want, I spend them because I don't know. I just can't hang on to stuff. That might explain a lot with my addictive personality, but that's another story for another video. But here you can see that I've started to kind of upgrade this SMG. It's the same thing. And I'm taking it from a 3 to a 4. Now, I'm not going to go any more than this because, I mean, it's a good cold front. I like the perks with it, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to masterwork it. Cold front has a really bad kind of, it goes all over the place. High damage, but high recoil, and I'm not a fan of recoil. Hence the mods that I've added here. So, it's a personal preference to what you're masterworking in terms of your weapons. But you need to start to pay attention if you're masterworking some of your first weapons, what your roles are. Again, it's based off of what you find preferable. If we go back to the sidearm here, I masterworked Lonesome because I like the 2 perks that it comes with. Rapid Hit, the precision hits temporarily increase stability and reload speed. This is really good for minor enemies and all those red bar enemies because I can pretty much hit them with precision. And then it also comes with kill clip. So not only do I have a rapid reload, but each time I reload, I'm gaining increased damage. And with it masterwork in reload speed, it's a quick reload and then I can go back to doing additional damage. So you can see why I've kind of picked this weapon to reload it, or to masterwork it, because they all kind of boom, boom, and fit one into the other. It also came with Flared Magwell, which increases stability and reload speed. So again, it's just feeding into a perk that I really like. I really, 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 really am a big fan of having a fast reload speed. I think it's beneficial. None of these masterworks will ever be in impact. They will either be reload, handling, stability, and range. And again, it's your personal preference. I like mine to be in reload speed. Certain weapons I would prefer range over that, but it just depends what weapon I'm looking for. But it'll never be an impact. So, with that, when you find something like this and you've got the resource and the materials, upgrade it, because when it hits a plus 10, gets masterworked. When you quickly defeat enemies, you're going to start dropping orbs of power, which will help build your super even quicker and makes it really helpful, especially like during raids. So the new thing, though, outside of the if we're not looking at the ghost, so remember the ghost had a few, it's got its own perks and then it has its own mods. So do weapons. Weapon mods are based on what you've unlocked. Here I've added the Taken spec because it does increase damage against Taken enemies, because I took this into the Prophecy dungeon. Some mods you can earn just from in the world doing patrols, finding random chests. Some of the mods, like the Rampage spec and the Sprint grab, those were mods from season 4, the Forges, which you can't just find anymore. If you really want these mods, you have to wait for the daily reset from Banshee and to see if he's selling any of the mods.
What do you think?
Right here. And you can see that I've already owned it. And it takes mod components to unlock the whatever mod he's selling if you do not have it. A good way to get mod components is to double check and see if you have any extras of these kinds of mods. If you have an extra and it has a number next to it, you can dismantle it for mod components. You only need to have one. Because in the previous seasons, anytime you added a mod, once you got rid of it, it disappeared. But basically now it's once you unlock it, it's free to just keep. Well, it's 500 to keep adding or to put it into your weapon. So you don't need to go any further than that. Okay. So that is that. So you can add that to any, and again, you can change it out, but it's going to cost 500. So most of my mods are either going to be the Taken, the Counterbalance, because I hate recoil, and the backup magazine is always good too. I always enjoy having a couple extra bullets in the. But there's some other good ones. Freehand grip is great for like grenade launchers. It's rare that I ever aim down sights on my grenade launcher. Targeting adjuster is good as well. And any of the minor or the boss or the major specs, those are extremely helpful. But again, it's a personal preference. All right. Okay, let's move on to armor then. You can see here that I've masterworked all my armor, and you may be asking yourself, why would I masterwork armor? And the reason is it unlocks additional, not additional perks, but it adds to your total. Now you can't, when I'm talking about total, I'm actually, this is really bad. I'm pointing at the screen, like you can see me pointing at the screen. But if you look at mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, strength, and then total, you can see my normal white bar where my stats are normally, but then you can see an additional gold bar that's added to it. Masterworking adds some pluses to the stats in general. And that's really, really important, because the closer you are to 100, the more you can have, you can kind of decide where you want those perks to go. All right. Again, it's the same thing, except with armor, there's a few additional places of new items or things to look at. Number one is based on your elemental class. This is important for the last slot, and we'll talk about this in a second, whether you're going to be doing a Warmind build or a Charged with Light build, because with the elemental area, it changes what these Warmind cells can do and what kind of Charged with Light perks you can get. So that's really important to look at here. The first slot will be it will deal with all of your different types of perks and how much you can influence them. Second and third slot is always with weapons, and then the fourth slot is going to be with your builds. And we will talk about that in the next video. Okay? Cool.